Imagine waking up tomorrow with no alarm, no emails, no deadlines, no office, no school, no schedule telling you where to be. You open your eyes, step outside, and the first question that enters your mind is simple: what should I do today? For most people, that sounds like a vacation. For most of human history, it was normal life. Modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years, but jobs, salaries, and fixed working hours are incredibly recent inventions. For tens of thousands of generations, people did not wake up and go to work. So, what exactly did they do all day? The answer is very different from what most people imagine. Many people picture ancient humans struggling every second to stay alive, constantly searching for food, and running from danger. But archaeological evidence tells a more complicated story. Studies of hunter-gatherer societies reveal that survival often required far less time than modern full-time employment. Instead of spending 40 or 50 hours every week working, many groups secured enough food in much less time. That doesn't mean life was easy. It means life was organized differently. A typical day began with the sunrise. Small groups gathered around the remains of the previous night's fire. People talked. Children played nearby. Others prepared simple meals using food collected or hunted earlier. There was no clock counting down the minutes. No manager waiting for reports. The day started slowly. If food supplies were low, some members of the group would leave to gather fruits, roots, nuts, honey, or edible plants. Others might track animals. Hunting was not always a dramatic chase. Sometimes it involved hours of observation, reading footprints, studying broken branches, following tiny clues left. Ancient humans became masters of attention. Their survival depended on noticing details most modern people would never see: a disturbed patch of soil, a fresh footprint, the distant sound of birds suddenly becoming silent. These small signs could reveal opportunities or dangers. But securing food was only part of life. Once basic needs were met, people had something surprisingly valuable: time. Lots of it. Archaeologists have discovered evidence that ancient humans spent enormous amounts of effort creating things that served no immediate survival purpose. They made jewelry from shells. They carved patterns into bone. They painted cave walls. They decorated tools. Some objects required days of careful work, and yet they continued making them. Why? Because humans are not machines designed only for survival. We are creators. Even tens of thousands of years ago, people wanted beauty. They wanted self-expression. They wanted meaning. One of the strongest pieces of evidence comes from prehistoric art. Deep inside caves, far from sunlight, ancient artists painted animals with remarkable skill. These paintings were not quick sketches. Many show movement, perspective, and careful attention to detail. Creating them required planning, patience, and imagination. No one was paying these artists. There were no customers, no social media likes. They created because something inside them wanted to create. And art was only one part of daily life. Storytelling was another. Long before books existed, knowledge traveled through stories. Every evening, groups gathered around fires. The darkness beyond the flames was filled with uncertainty. But inside the circle of light, people talked. They shared memories. They explained the world. They told stories about animals, ancestors, heroes, and mysterious forces of nature. These stories entertained people, but they also passed down survival knowledge. A story could teach children where danger lived. It could explain seasons. It could preserve information for generations. In many ways, storytelling became humanity's first classroom. Relationships were equally important. Today, people often spend more time with screens than with other humans. Ancient people had the opposite experience. Their lives revolved around community. They ate together, worked together, traveled together, raised children together. A person's greatest source of security was not money. It was other people. If someone became sick, injured, or too old to hunt, the group often helped them survive. Archaeologists have found ancient skeletons showing severe injuries that healed over time. Those individuals could not have survived alone. Someone cared for them. Someone shared food. Someone protected them. This reveals something powerful about our species. Cooperation wasn't optional. It was one of humanity's greatest strengths. Children also played a major role in daily life. Play was not considered a waste of time. It was how young humans learned essential skills. Through games, children practiced throwing, tracking, climbing, problem solving, and social interaction. Much of what adults knew started as play. Even today, the human brain learns best through curiosity and exploration. Ancient childhood was built around both, and then there was something modern society rarely values: rest. Ancient humans rested frequently. They sat together, watched landscapes, observed animals, talked, thought. Many moments had no obvious purpose. They were not optimizing productivity. They were simply living. To modern minds, this can seem strange. We've become accustomed to measuring our worth through output: how much we earn, how much we achieve, how busy we appear. Ancient humans lived according to a different logic. Being useful mattered, but being human mattered too. Then everything changed. Around 10,000 years ago, agriculture began spreading across different regions of the world. People started planting crops and domesticating animals. At first, this seemed like a brilliant idea. Food became more predictable, settlements became permanent, populations grew, but farming came with a hidden cost. Fields demanded constant attention. Seeds needed planting, crops needed protection, harvests required storage. For the first time, large numbers of people became tied to specific locations and repetitive labor. As villages grew into towns and towns grew into cities, society became more complex. Specialized roles appeared: farmers, builders, soldiers, merchants, administrators. Eventually, these roles evolved into something familiar: jobs. The concept that a significant portion of your time belongs to an economic system. Over thousands of years, this structure expanded until it became the foundation of modern civilization. Today, most people spend decades working according to schedules created by institutions. It's so normal that we rarely question it. Yet for most of human existence, life looked completely different. Humans spent their days exploring, creating, socializing, learning, teaching, storytelling, resting, and securing food only when necessary. They faced dangers we no longer face, but they also experienced freedoms many people no longer have. This doesn't mean the past was perfect. Disease existed, injuries existed, food shortages happened. Life could be harsh, but it reminds us of something important: the desire to create, the need for connection, the love of stories, the joy of curiosity. These things are not modern inventions. They are ancient parts of being human. Long before offices existed, long before salaries existed, long before anyone had a job title, humans were already finding meaning in their lives. And perhaps the most surprising lesson is this: the things that made life worth living thousands of years ago are often the same things we are still searching for today. If you enjoyed this journey into our past, subscribe to Origin Theory for more documentaries exploring the history of humanity.